Word on the street is that the legendary Jason and the brilliant Anna are both officially heading back to the screen on the momentous date of the 13th of July, 2026. Yes, you heard me right. Write that date down in permanent marker because the 13th of July, 2026 is going to be the day the world stops spinning. We have been waiting in agonizing suspense, and now our sources are hinting at a collision of storylines so massive it will leave us completely breathless. It seems like the powers that be are finally giving us the high stakes, adrenaline fueled espionage thriller we have been begging for, and I am entirely here for it. Let us start by looking at where we left off, because the tension in Port Charles is currently thick enough to cut with a knife. If you ask me, Sonny is spiraling into a completely different level of paranoia, and we can all see the storm clouds gathering. He has officially unleashed his most trusted tech genius, Brick, on a highly classified manhunt to track down Britt and young Rocco. You see, Britt and Rocco are currently on the run, fleeing into the cold, unforgiving night, and nobody expected them to become the ultimate targets in this deadly game of hide and seek. But why is Sonny so desperate to find them before anyone else? We know that when Sonny gets an obsession in his head, especially with his current fragile mental state, he becomes an unstoppable force. He is convinced that finding Britt and Rocco is the only way to protect his crumbling empire, but the truth could be much more complicated than a simple family rescue. Meanwhile, miles away from the familiar docks of our beloved town, our jaw-dropping reports suggest that Jason is not just lying low, he is actually being held captive in a highly secure, completely off-the-grid WSB black site located in the humid, dangerous heart of Jakarta. Just picture it, guys. The stone-cold mercenary himself, locked in a dark concrete cage, surrounded by corrupt international agents who think they can actually keep him contained. It seems like the WSB has underestimated who they are dealing with, because we all know that a locked door is merely a temporary inconvenience for a man like Jason. The silence in his cell must be deafening, but you can bet his mind is racing with tactical escape routes. What if this captivity was deliberately engineered by a higher power within the agency to keep him from interfering with a much larger, more sinister plot back home? It is highly likely that Jason is already plotting his brilliant, bone-cracking escape as we speak, preparing to make his triumphant return to the canvas. But what happens when he finally breaks free and makes his way back to Port Charles? Our insider rumors are strongly hinting that his highly anticipated reunion with Britt might take a shocking, completely unexpected turn. We remember the undeniable chemistry, the raw vulnerability they shared during their previous time on the run, and if you ask me, their connection is far from dead. This potential shift in their relationship could be the emotional anchor of the entire summer. Could we be looking at a deeply passionate, slow burn romance rekindled under the worst possible circumstances? The mere thought of Jason and Britt finding their way back to each other makes my soap-loving heart skip a beat, but they have to survive the incoming onslaught first. But hold on to your seats, because the danger is multiplying at an alarming rate, and it is not just Britt and Rocco who are in the direct line of fire. Let us talk about Jocelyn, who is currently walking straight into a deadly, invisible trap. We already know that Jocelyn caused that chaotic blackout at Windermere, which allowed Pascal to slip away, but it seems like her troubles are only just beginning. There are whispers that Cassius, the dangerous operator lurking on Spoon Island, is about to play a highly calculated game of chess with her life. What if Cassius, pushed to the edge by Jocelyn's bold defiance, decides to manufacture completely fake, highly incriminating criminal evidence against her? This means that our headstrong, brave Jocelyn could suddenly find herself branded as an international criminal, with the full, terrifying weight of the WSB coming down on her shoulders. If that is not terrifying enough, we must consider the shadowy, menacing presence of Cullum, who is pulling strings from the darkest corners of this conspiracy. Cullum has already been putting extreme, ruthless pressure on Liesel to finish her top-secret lab work at Windermere, but now it seems like his dark gaze has shifted directly to Jocelyn. Rumor has it that Cullum might step in to force Cassius's hand, demanding that Jocelyn be handed over directly to corrupt WSB operatives. Instead of putting her through a standard legal trial, they could easily transport her to a completely different, deeply hidden black site, erasing her existence from the grid entirely. Can you even imagine the absolute horror Carly would feel if her precious daughter simply vanished off the face of the earth? The stakes have literally never been higher, and we are looking at an absolute worst-case scenario for the young Corinthos Jack's legacy. While Jocelyn is being fitted for a frame-up, Britt and Rocco are facing their own living nightmare on the run. They are moving from safe house to safe house, constantly looking over their shoulders, terrified of every shadow and every footstep in the dark. Rocco has grown incredibly close to Britt during this harrowing ordeal, relying on her strength as they navigate a world where they cannot trust a soul. But their luck is bound to run out, and the whispers from the set suggest a truly devastating twist is looming on the horizon. It is highly possible that despite all of Britt's medical instincts and survival skills, she and Rocco will be violently ambushed and kidnapped by Cullum's ruthless mercenaries. Instead of being found by Brick or Sonny's men, they could be thrown into the exact same web of secrecy, locked away in a hidden fortress alongside a terrified Jocelyn. Just picture the sheer, suffocating tension of that scenario, guys. 3 innocent lives, all locked away in a concrete tomb, while their families back in Port Charles are left completely in the dark, tearing themselves apart in a desperate search. Sonny will likely be blaming everyone from Michael to Rick, completely unaware that his loved ones are trapped in a global conspiracy that goes far beyond any local turf war. Michael is already distracted, desperately trying to destroy Brooklyn and Willow's lives by exposing secrets, completely blind to the fact that his sister is in mortal danger. If you ask me, the family is too fractured to save themselves, which means we need an elite, unstoppable force to rise from the ashes and do what no one else can. And that is exactly where the absolute dream team of Jason and Anna comes into play. Once Jason successfully breaks out of his Jakarta prison, he is going to find himself in a race against time, but he won't have to do it alone. Anna, who is also making her spectacular return to the screen, will be right there beside him. We know these two have a long, deeply complicated history of mutual respect and survival, having just returned from a harrowing mission in Somalia to save Lucky. But this new crisis will force them to operate at an entirely different level of intensity. Instead of working separately, wasting precious time chasing dead ends, Jason and Anna will be forced to form a highly classified, incredibly powerful alliance to track down the missing trio. This partnership is going to be an absolute masterclass in espionage and raw action, guys. If you ask me, we are going to see a perfect, beautiful contrast of styles that will keep us glued to our screens. Jason will bring his legendary, cold-blooded tactical experience to the table, utilizing his unparalleled physical combat skills to breach the tightest security perimeters. He is the wrecking ball, the man who walks into a room of armed guards and leaves them all unconscious in seconds. On the flip side, we have Anna, the brilliant former double agent who will utilize her deep WSB connections, her razor-sharp intellect, and her flawless espionage intuition to crack the highly encrypted communication codes. Together, they will be an absolutely flawless, unstoppable machine, systematically dismantling Cullum's plans piece by piece. As they dig deeper into the mystery, the psychological tension between Jason and Anna is bound to reach a boiling point. They are both carrying so much emotional baggage, so many ghosts of their pasts, yet they must remain hyper-focused on the mission. I can already picture the intense, hushed conversations they will have in the shadows of a makeshift command center, their eyes reflecting the desperate urgency of the situation. Anna will likely be racked with guilt over how corrupt her beloved WSB has become, while Jason's focus will be entirely on protecting his family, his thoughts drifting to Jocelyn's safety, and his unresolved feelings for Britt. The emotional weight of this rescue is going to be incredibly heavy, making every single step they take feel like a walk through a landmine field.